Welcome back, guys, to part 9 of the Sunshine Kisses and Fairy Wishes crochet along. This is Billowing Waves by Emily, another one of our gorgeous testers. You can read her mini bio as well in the pattern, but let's get started. We need to join on the reverse side, so with the wrong side facing up, guys, spin it around and we join in the first stitch with a standing single crochet. So I finished my across the miles from the right side. It finishes there, so the first stitch is just hanging off the edge here, right there. Join either with a chain and a single crochet, a standing single crochet like me, or a starting single crochet, however you want to do it. Just one in the first stitch and then one single crochet in every other stitch down the line. 216 for the pattern if you're doing the pattern, otherwise you'll need to keep track of your own stitch counts. Right, let's get this done. Then at the end you need to chain one and turn, and we'll get back together again for row 2. Back soon. That's all you have to do. I've stretched it a bit here. So row 2 needs that chain one and turn first at the end of row 1, as I said. And we're just going to do the same again. We're going to make a single crochet in the same first stitch that we ended and put a chain one into. So one single crochet in that very first stitch and then another single crochet all the way down along. These are our setup rows for some amazing texture that's about to happen. So get this one done as well. Single crochet all the way down the line. Check your stitch count, make sure you don't lose anything. And we'll come back. Chain one and turn at the end of this one as well. Back soon. Row 3, I'm ready. I've completed 2 rows of single crochet. I've made my chain one to turn. Now I need to make a single crochet in that very first stitch again that has the chain one right at the very beginning. And then I need one more single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So you will start with 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're going to make some 5 double crochet clusters, also sometimes referred to as bobbles. So in the next stitch, it's right there, 5 double crochet clusters. So yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's once. I have to do this 5 times. That's once. Yarn over, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2, 3, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4, and one more, and 5. So you should have 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all of them. And now we're going to make one single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Now because we're working from the reverse, remember we had to turn, so we're on the reverse side, and we want our bobbles to pop to the front. So when you make your next stitches, your next 5 stitches, bring this forward a little bit because we want it to pull down to that single crochet like this and pop out the other side. So I'll just tilt it so you can see that it's popping out. Alright, that's what we want. We want it bulging on the good side of the fabric, which is why we're working from the back. Alright, let me do that. So that's one single crochet. We need to make 5. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to make another cluster. 5 double crochet cluster, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. 5 times. That's 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. That's 3, 4, and one more, 5, leaving you 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all of them, and come down and make a single crochet. And so what you end up with, as soon as I get my hands to work, is this beautiful bit of texture. See if I can get the side on view. There we go. See how they're popping out through the front? Right, so we'll do that all the way down. That's your repeat. Your repeat begins with a 5 double crochet cluster. and then 5 single crochet. So I've started the repeat, there's the cluster. Now I need to make a single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. You'll do that all the way down, and your final repeat will end here, leaving you 3 stitches at the end. So you'll finish your 5th single crochet in that stitch with 3 left. You're going to make one final 5 double crochet cluster here, but I'll meet you here and we'll do the last bit together. Alright, back soon. Okay, so here I am so far, all of my 5 double crochet clusters made except for the very last one. So I finished my last repeat here, there's the cluster, and here are my 5 single crochet, 1 2 3 4 5. That's the end of the repeats. And so now we need to make one final cluster in the 3rd stitch from the end. So let's do that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5. So basically you're looking at 5 incomplete double crochet closed off all together. Now please, I probably should have said this at the beginning, don't make a chain here. We don't need that because we need to be able to bring this bobble down, this cluster, and make the single crochet, which will cinch it down and push it out. Okay, so don't add any chains to that cluster. So there's my single crochet, and here's one final single crochet. That's your last instruction, one single crochet in each of the last 2 after you make one final cluster. And then we just need to chain 1 and turn. So let's take a good look at this. I'll flip it, and there it is. From the right side, we've got all of our beautiful little clusters popping out, and that's why they're made from the back. And that's why we don't need a chain, because that single crochet we make immediately afterwards, this single crochet here, brings all those loops back and makes the cluster pop. Let me just get that out of the way so you can see it clearly. Right? So this is the wrong side of the work. There's my little blue piece of thread. This is the wrong side, and this is the right side that we get the texture on. Okay, so hopefully you can get all of that done. It's not too much of a challenge. Get that all finished, make your chain 1, turn around back to the right side so you can feel all your little 5 double crochet clusters, aka bobbles, on the front, and we'll reconvene for row 4. Row 4 is just going to be single crochet. However, you do need to be a little bit careful. We have a note saying don't miss the stitch that's just in front of these 5 double crochet clusters. Now, as you recall, we did 2 single crochet at the end after we made the cluster. They'll be a little bit hard to see. Let's see if I can show it to you. So I might have to turn. Let's turn instead. Okay. There's the single crochet that I made right after the cluster. Let me zoom in a bit more, shall I? How about that? Let's try that. So that's the loops. These are the loops from the cluster, the top of the cluster. This is the first single crochet, you can see it there, after the cluster, and this is the second one. And this here is my chain. Right. So when we turn around, we have to put a single crochet in there and in here. So that's where that note comes into play, that you must be careful not to miss. So let's see if we can do that. Let me untwist my yarn here. Okay, so let's get into the first one, which is right here. You can see them very easily, the first set. One single crochet in there. Now you might have to pinch and twist your little cluster here to see the second set of loops, which will be rather tight. So you get in behind there and make your second single crochet. Now another single crochet goes into the top of your cluster. You might have to rotate till you get the hang of it. Now this one might be a little bit on the loose side. There it is, the big loops there. A single crochet into those. Okay, you have to find those loops. Oops. Don't go into the front of this. I'll show you on the next one. Then we should have 5. Remember, we did 5 single crochet between each cluster. So if you haven't got 5, then you have to search and find out that hidden one. that's 3, that's 4, and see how that's tucked away in there? And you might be mistaken to think, you might be tricked into thinking that those loops belong to the cluster. They do not. They belong to your first single crochet right there. So we get in there, and that's our 5th single crochet between them. And if you rotate again, you will see the top loops right there, not here. That's not the top of the cluster. These are here, you see? That's where you put your single crochet. Because if you start to dig into the cluster to dig that, you'll lose some of its texture. So you've got to try and get into the top loops, which will be facing the other way because they were made on the other side. So that's the trick. Let's do it again. So I've made that one. Now I need 5 in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's the 5th one hiding. That's the 5th one. And the cluster loops are here. Alright. You will get the hang of it, especially if you're doing a wide blanket. You will start to just instinctively know where to put your hook. 2, 3, 4. Jam it in there just in front of the cluster for the 5th, and then down from the top. See how it just naturally picks up those 2 loops, but not this one, even though I just snagged it there. That's your cluster. So every 6th stitch needs to go into the top of the cluster. And you must have 5 in between. That will help you with your stitch count anyway, but that's what your note is warning you about. Let's do it one more time. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull it out of the way if you have to. There's 5 tucked in the back there, and 6, my cluster, the top loops are at the back. Ta-da! And that frames your little clusters, your little bobbles, your little billowing waves beautifully, and really cinches and secures them in so that they don't pop out through the back too easily. Okay, get that done all the way down, and you will have to end up with 216 single crochet again. So here is the last set of loops for the cluster, and then you will have 3 more. 1, 2, and 3 before the end. Alright, like that. At the end of this, you will chain 1 and turn, and we'll reconvene for row 5. Back soon. Row 5. So I've made my chain 1 at the end of row 4. I need a single crochet in that same stitch the chain 1 came from. And now I need a single crochet in each of the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Just 1 single crochet, 2, and okay. Now we're going to start our repeats. We are going to make a 5 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. That's there. But I want you to take note of where that is. That is the very next stitch after the previous cluster. Here, placement is everything in the next few rows so that we get the right shape for our textured bobbles here. So it's right there. If you're going, and you need to pay attention to your placement. So let's make the first one a 5 double crochet cluster in here. 2, 3, 4, and 5 incomplete double crochet, 6 loops on the hook. Close them off together, yarn over, pull through all, and now we're going to make a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So come forward, bring it forward, make that little cluster pop out the other side. Make a single crochet, 1, fumble, 2 and 3, right, and now we're going to make another cluster right into the very next stitch, and this one is going to pop in right ahead of the one below. So you're going to have a cluster on the insides of the previous two down below. I'm really hoping you can see this. Okay, so let's make our next cluster. 5 here, 5 double crochet cluster here, 2, 3, 4 and 5, yarn over, pull through all, and the repeat ends with a single crochet in the next stitch. So bend it forward and make your single crochet. That's the whole repeat there, starting with this 5 double crochet cluster over here. So you can see how these two, oops, I'm too far up, goodness, sorry. These two are sitting just inside these two. Okay, let me see. Okay, so let's go again. The repeat starts immediately. 5 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. So there's only going to be one single crochet here at the end of the repeat and before the start of the next one. Not 3, just 1. So let's make another cluster. Five, yarn over, pull through all, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 3. 1, 2 and 3, and then another cluster. I'll show you the other side in a minute. Let's just finish the repeat. So the repeat starts 5 double crochet cluster, then 3 single crochet, then another 5 double crochet cluster, that's 4 there, and 1 single crochet. The repeat ends on 1 single crochet. So let me do that. Now, it doesn't look like anything from the back, but there you can see clearly, if I grab my little pointer, that there are 3 single crochet here and only 1 there. And we did the same over here, 3 single crochet behind and 1 there. So a full repeat is the cluster, 3 single crochet, cluster, 1 single crochet, and then again cluster, 3 single crochet, cluster, 1 single crochet. And when you flip it, you will see that we are making clusters on either side of these clusters from below. So there will be 2. Now the next repeat will start here in the next stitch right there. Get that thread out of the way. In that stitch we're going to have another cluster popping up right here. So let me do one more set of repeats and then I'll come back and we'll have another look. Okay, I got a little bit carried away and did an extra repeat, but now you can see it's really shaping up, that you're getting these little triads of clusters here. And in between the triples you can see that there are 1, 2, 3 single crochet. So in between the groupings, but inside the grouping here there is only 1 single crochet, and you can see the loops of the single crochet. Let me use the finer point there and there. That's your single crochet. These are the top loops of the single crochet, and these are the top loops of your clusters. Lefties, it'll be looking similar to you, but just in reverse. Your top loops of your single crochet will be on this side when you're looking at them, but when you're working them here from the back, it's easier to see what you've done. You can see 3 single crochet here and 1 single crochet clearly there, and these are your clusters there and there. Right. So please be careful. The repeat starts with a cluster, 3 single crochet, another cluster, 1 single crochet. So you need to get yourself all the way to the end. Your final set, the last single crochet, will go in, your cluster will go here, right in front of this one, in the 4th stitch. Your final single crochet will go here on top of your cluster, and then you'll have 2 more single crochet left to do outside of the repeat. So your repeat finishes here with a single crochet right there and a final cluster just before it. Okay, I'll meet you here, nothing really to do except just double check your counts, but I'll meet you here and we'll finish up together. We're done. That's the last single crochet of the repeat right there, and that leaves me 2 stitches, and I just need to put a single crochet in each of those 2, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn for row 6. So there's what it looks like from the back. Actually quite neat. Your biggest challenge will be not to miss your stitches. So after you've made your single crochet, for example, you need to find the very next stitch to put your next bobble in, and that could be a problem. So just take your time and count and check. So this is how we're looking from the front now. So we've got nice clusters of 3 bobbles. This was the first set down below, and then we have a bobble on either side of the bobbles below, except at the beginning. So at the beginning, the first one is to the left for the righties, to the right for the lefties, and the last one is to the right of the last one. Okay. You will have at one end 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet. The 4th one is going to be a bit hard to see when we get there, but that's the one we have to fish around for. And at the beginning, from the right side, when you're looking from the right side, we have 3, 1, 2, 3, and the turning chain right there. All right. So take your time with it, guys. It's got to look right. You cannot be off center. In between the groups, there are 3 single crochet. Doesn't look like it, but there are. And inside the group, right here, there is only 1 single crochet. And over here, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it's easy when you know what you're looking for. So that's why I'm taking a bit of extra time talking you through this one. And then we can zoom out again and see the whole thing in all its glory. All right. Get that done. Don't forget to chain 1 and turn, and then we'll be back to make row 6. Okay, I'm ready for row 6. So we start with a single crochet in that very first stitch that contains the chain, and then 1 single crochet all the way down, remembering to pull our bobbles, our clusters aside to find the stitch that's right in front of it, and then getting the cluster stitch. Okay, so and then in between them there are 3 in between each group. Then we need to get the cluster, all single crochet all the way down. Then in between here, very important that you find that single crochet that's in between them, and then back into the top of the cluster. And then on the other side there are 3 again, 1, 2, and the one that's, well, just slide your hook down behind that cluster. You don't really need to search for it because the hook will go there. Then you need to find the top loops of the cluster, and remember that there's 1 in between, top loops of the cluster again, and 3 after that, 1, 2, and the little sneaky hidden one behind. And there you go. So count, guys, count. There are 3 in between the groups, 1 in between the 2, the set of 2 here. Get on top of each cluster, and you should still end up with 216 stitches, or depending on your starting chain, whatever it is that you started with. Okay, let's get that done. At the end, we chain 1 and turn, and we'll be back for row 7. Okay, now before we start row 7, I want you to get a visual of what's going to happen in your head. We will be working this row from the wrong side, but I want you to look at the right side just for a second for me. So working from the wrong side means our row will start from over here, but I've flipped it so we can talk. Now we're going to start with a single crochet in the first stitch that the chain goes into. I've actually dropped my chain, but I'll put it back in a minute. And then we're going to do another 4. That's a total of 5 single crochet, and we'll be working them from the back. I keep saying that, but I want you to look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means our next first cluster for the repeat will go here, which is exactly where it should go, so that we continue our diagonal march up the piece. So we'll put a 5 double crochet cluster in there. Then we're going to put a single crochet into the next single crochet, and if you look carefully you will notice that's the third one, the middle one, sorry, of the 3 that we did between. So your cluster goes there, you'll put a single crochet in there, and then you're going to immediately make another cluster in there. Then we're going to make 3 single crochet, 1, 2 and 3, and put a cluster over here. A cluster, then a single crochet, and then another cluster, and then 1, 2, 3 single crochet. So what you're going to see is that we are now going to grow a little group of clusters here into a V, and they will be separated out, so they'll be going on either side here. So basically they're going to almost join these up, but they're going to grow this way. So your 3 stitches in the previous set were down below here in between. Now they're going to be up here separating these groups of 3. So what I need you to be seeing when you're working, if you're not sure what you're doing, flip it over. You need to see this group of 3 become a V with a gap in the middle. Alright, so we'll get started and we'll stop and keep checking. Alright, here we go. We start with a single crochet in the very first stitch the chain is in. Then we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 4. 3 and 4. I split my yarn. Do that one again. So that gives me 5 single crochet at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Alright? And now we're going to start our repeat. We start with a 5 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. So that's over here. And 5. Yarn over, pull through all, and now we make 1 single crochet in the next stitch down here. So bring your cluster forward like you did in the previous times, make 1 single crochet only, and now immediately another cluster. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yarn over, pull through all, and the final part of the repeat is now 1 single crochet in each of the next 3. And I've snagged again. I'm really struggling with this yarn. It's beautiful cotton, but it is very stringy. 2 and 3. Alright, so immediately what have we done? Let me turn it over. There we go. We have grown this way and opened up. We're going to open up this group now. Okay, so these two look like they're kissing. Crashing waves, crashing into each other with 1 single crochet between them. Okay, let's keep going. So we start with the cluster in the next stitch. This is how the repeat starts. I'll go a bit faster if I can without splitting my yarn. 4, oops, 5, yarn over, pull through all, and 1 solitary single crochet first. Now another cluster in the very next stitch. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yarn over, pull through all, and now 3 single crochet. Oops, get both top loops. See, I didn't grab both top loops, I just accidentally only picked up 1. 2 and 3, and that's the end of the repeat. So now we've completed 2 full repeats, and you can see that the this V has now opened, and this one has started to as well. So now I just need to keep going and put another cluster in the next stitch. Alright, so your routine is that now. After the 3 single crochet, your routine is cluster, single, 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 and each time your next cluster that begins will be on the outside. See, they're going to the outside of the previous ones. Alright, okay, keep going. This is the end of the repeat, 3 single crochet. So start again, cluster, single, 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 cluster, single, 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 all the way down to the end. You finish with 3 single crochet. So in the repeats, so what will happen is you will finish your last cluster over here, and you will put 1, 2, 3 single crochet in after it, leaving you one final stitch. It doesn't look like a stitch there because of the way it's twisted up, but it is. It's right there. I'll have to wrangle it. I don't know what I did there, but it's there, right there. Okay, I'll catch up. I'll meet you here actually, and we'll put the last stitches in together. See you in a bit. Okay, that's row 7 done. I finished with my last bubble and 3 single crochet, and that leaves us 1 single crochet over here to be completed. This is the one that I was having a bit of trouble finding. There it is. So that's your final single crochet. I need a chain 1 to turn, and then when you turn your work over, you should see that. I'll put it straight on so you can see. So you should now have, in fact I'll zoom out just a little bit, you can see almost all of it. You should now have a continuous zigzag across the top of your work. There are single crochet in between, especially here, there is one. But it doesn't matter if you can't see it, we know it's there. Alright, so you have a nice continuous line all the way across. Do yourself a favour and stop and check periodically, please. I don't want you to get too far down and suddenly your bobbles are in the wrong position. Okay, I'll untwist this nicely. Alright, that's it. That's it for row 7. You'll chain 1 and turn, and we'll come back and make another single crochet row, but I'll just get you started with that one. Alright, it's looking pretty good, eh? Back soon. Okay, we're back with row 8, which is again single crochet, starting in the very first stitch that has the chain in it, and working your way all the way down, and always remembering that whether you see it or not, there is always a single crochet right in front of that cluster. And then you do the cluster, and now in this case there is also one between them. There it is, right there. You must get between them. Then your other cluster, and then here you will have 3. Oops, I think I've picked up a stray loop there. 1, 2, and the hidden one jammed in there, 3. Then the cluster. Oops, you will be working basically in groups of 3 again. The one in between, the single crochet in between there and there. So you will work, it's all a bit awkward I know, but there are 3 single crochet between them, so there's 1, 2 and 3 there. Then you have 3 stitches to make here, the cluster, the single and the cluster, so another 3 there. So you're working in groups of 3, 3 and 3. They're really easy to see when you look from when you flip it like this and you look. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And these are the clusters, 1, 2, 3. So you must not miss that single crochet in there. It will be a bit awkward to get to. Just stab down in between them and you'll get it. Don't miss any of those. You work on a 3 count all the way down, except for the beginning. Here we had 1, 2, 3, 4 before the 4th one went into the cluster. There's 1 in between. There's 1 in the cluster, 1 in between, and 1 in the other cluster. And then at the end, you will finish here. You will, after you do your final cluster there, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the beginning will have 4, the end will have 5. But the rest of the way you can count in 3s. Alright, so that you can ensure that your stitch count is right and that you're not missing those hidden stitches because they're critical. Alright, that'll be your row 8. Let's all finish it. Chain 1 to turn, and we'll come back and make another set of beautiful clusters. So we finished off row 8 with a chain 1 at the end, and now we turn. Now row 9 is our final set of clusters, okay, but we start with a single crochet in that very first stitch with the chain in it, then 5 more for a total of 6. So that, make sure you've got 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That's my turning chain on the end there. And now we start making clusters, and our repeat is identical to the very first one, I suppose, except for the number of single crochet we're doing. We start with a cluster in the very next stitch. So, okay, let's do this again. Let's have a look. So our clusters, now one cluster will go into the top of every one of these inverted V's, and you'll put 5 single crochet in between. So here's what's going to happen. I'm about to do my first cluster right here, right in there in the next stitch. Then I will do 5 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a cluster in the next stitch. So we're closing off the tops of these clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a cluster in the next stitch. Okay, so that's all this row is. Let's just do one and you can see it. Keep going off shot, I know, but it's kind of hard to wrangle this thing now. So we start with the cluster. 5 incomplete double crochet, that's 3, 4 and 5. Yarn over, pull through all, and now 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then a cluster again. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going quickly, but you've done plenty. 4 and 5. It's more about what we're trying to achieve. Okay, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 5, and I'll stop now, turn around, have a good look. 3, 4 and 5. So that's the end of the repeat. Now let's turn. Let's see if I can get organised here without being too clumsy. And ta-da! We have now created the crest of our wave. And that will happen all the way down with 5 single crochet in between. Even though 3 of them are the only ones visible, there are 5 there. So roll your work every so often and take a look and make sure your clusters are appearing in the correct spot, right above in the point. Okay, all the way down. And you will finish, in fact, exactly at the end. Your final repeat will bring you exactly to the end. Okay, you'll put your final cluster in here, in that stitch there, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left for your 5 single crochet, and that will complete the row. Alright, so you don't need to do anything different at the end. The repeat completes right there, just perfectly where it needs to be. Alright, let's get that done. Then we chain 1 and turn, and we'll just neaten off our beautiful section with a couple of rows of single crochet, I believe. I haven't really checked, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. Yep, 2 rows of single crochet. I'll come back and get you started on those in a minute. Let's get all of our peaks closed off, and we'll come back for row 10. Okay, so let's finish off. Now we've got 2 rows of single crochet to do. The first one is the one that's always going to be a little bit awkward, so it's all about not missing that hidden stitch that looks like it's part of the cluster but isn't, right there. It's not the cluster, that's the cluster. So you just start off again with a single crochet in the same stitch as the chain, and then a single crochet, cat fuzz, all the way down till you get to the end, making sure you get in behind that cluster for that final single crochet, and then getting your clusters. When you finish this row, we're going to do exactly the same, but it'll be easy coming back because you don't have to worry about clusters or anything. So when you finish this row, you will make a chain 1 at the end, all the way here. Here's my last stitch right there. Last single crochet in there, chain 1 and turn, and then come all the way back and put a single crochet into every one of these stitches that we're making now, all the way to the last one right there. And that finishes this section. I'll finish it and I'll come back and I'll just show you how it looks finished before we move on to across the miles. Okay, take me a few minutes, but I'll be back. And here we are, done and dusted. So we've got a beautiful zigzag of cluster stitches here, our billowing waves. We finished off with one set of single crochet going in and catching the single crochet just ahead of the bobble clusters, and then we finished off with one return row of just plain single crochet in every stitch, and we've framed everything beautifully. So that's it for this part, for part 9. Now I need you to go and add your next section of Across the Miles, and then we'll reconvene for part 10. We are halfway, guys, except for the border. We are halfway. Great work.